This is a review that we did in class. A lot of people miss these particular questions, so we're going to go over them. On this one, we want to solve for y. If everything is being divided by 4, that's the first thing you want to get rid of. So you're going to multiply both sides by 4. 4 over 4 is 1, and they cancel out. Don't distribute the 4 to the 2y and z. Just they're gone. So 4 times x is 4x. 2y, take away z, is left, and we're still solving for y, so we have to move the z over and get rid of the 2. The first thing you want to do is add z to get 0. And so you have 4x plus z equals to 2y. And the way we get rid of the 2y, they're multiplying, number next to letter. And to get rid of it, you divide out the 2 everywhere. So y is 4x plus z all over 2. When you're solving for b, you want to get the b by itself, and the mx is stuck together, and you want 0. You want to move all the mx over. So if you divide, which I see lots of people do, mx divide mx is 1, not 0. So we don't want to divide. We actually want to subtract mx, because mx take away mx is 0. So minus mx, and we have b equal to y minus mx. The last one, we're solving for r. So same exact as the last one that we did. So minus gh, there's our 0, so r is k minus gh as the answer. So back to inequalities. If I want to solve for x, I have x's on both sides. That means that I want to get x's together first. So to make the negative 8 happy, I have to get rid of these 7x's here. So take them away. I get 0, 0. Bring that down. I keep my sign. I did not multiply or divide negative. Bring down negative 8. Is this true? Is the alligator really eating the bigger number here? The negative 8? Well, if you graph, 0 is here and negative 8 is over here. So negative 8 is not bigger. This is false. Therefore, there is no solution. The x's went away completely, and we were left with something not true. Same thing with this one. I've got m's on both sides, so I want to get 0, save negative 3. So take away 10m on both sides. So negative 3, bring down, again, 0. So that's 0. Is the alligator eating the bigger number? And in this case, again, 0's here, negative 3's here. So no, negative 3's not the one we want to be eating. And so again, this is false. No solution. The variables went away and you're left with something not true. Here, if you want to get rid of the 4, it's being divided, so we would multiply by 4. But because there's a negative out front, if we want to get rid of the 4 and the negative at the same time, we will multiply by a negative 4. Because negative 4 over negative 4 is 1, so that's completely gone. We have x. Here we've got negative 32. And now I want to graph that. So negative 32. One bigger is negative 31. One smaller is negative 33. If I plug in negative 32 as a solution, is negative 32 greater than negative 32? The answer is no. So do not fill it in. So no filling in. because it does not have the equal to line. If it did, then we would fill it in. But in this case, it does not. Since the x does come first, we can follow the arrow, which says to go to the right. And so we would head this direction. If you wanted to do it the other way and check a number, so I could check negative 33 and see if it works. So if I plug in negative 33 right here, is negative 33 greater than negative 32? And the answer to that is no, it's not greater, it's less. So we do not shade over here, we do shade to the right. So you can check a number, see if it works. If it doesn't, you shade the other way. If it does, you shade the direction where you picked that number. Here, again, I look on the side that has the x, and I need to save the 6. 6 is dividing, so I will multiply 6 on both sides. This is 1. I have x. And if I simplify this, or I times it out on the calculator, I end up with negative 11 over 2, which is the same as negative 5.5. And now when I go to graph this, I got negative 5.5. And over here, I got 1 bigger would be negative 5, or half bigger would be negative 5, and negative 6 over here. Again, I don't have the equal to, so you cannot include negative 5.5 as an answer. So leave the circle open. And the x does not come first. So I cannot follow the way that it tells me to go. I have to do the opposite. So the arrow points to the left, but since the x is not in the correct spot, I must go to the right. So go opposite of the way the arrow shows you. And if you wanted to, you could flip this around so that the x is first, but notice how the alligator eats the x. When you flip it around, the alligator still must eat the x. And notice now that we follow that arrow exactly as it shows us. On here, if you did not put these down in your notes before, you're going to want to write them down now. And so what you'll want to do with the video is pause it right now so that you can write down some different ways of saying less than, greater than, equal to, or less than or equal to. So these are different ways of saying the inequalities. So pause the video because I'm going on. Practice with changing words into numbers and symbols. So if I have 4 less than twice a number is fewer than 12, if this is less than as, it is not the same as a number is less than another number. Is less than, I would put this sign. If it just says 4 less than, I'm talking about subtraction. I'm not talking about the symbol less than, the inequality. Also, with less than, if I say I have $4 less than your $10, I have $6. I have 4 less than your $10, I have $6. I don't have negative $6, I have positive. So what we really end up doing here is we really end up doing 10 take away 4. That gets us the 6. So less than is kind of funny because it flips what is in front and what's in back. So notice here in back we've got twice a number, and that's going to go first. We have to flip it around. So the 4 is going to come second. And so twice a number is 2x, or 2 with any letter you choose, is fewer than, so if you go back to that page and you remember, fewer than is going to be this symbol, and we've got 12. So that's all we need to do here. We're just writing it out with numbers and symbols. The next one is this 3 more than 6 times a number. Again, you could do more than, and you could flip it like we did with less than to keep it consistent. However, if you're adding, you can add in any order you want to. So in this case, it really doesn't matter. But let's just do this part first so that we're consistent. So 6 times a number, 6x. And then more than means add, and I've got a 3. Again, I could have put 3 plus 6x, but either way, it doesn't matter. If you look back at the page that we were at, where it said is at least, that's going to be greater than or equal to, and then our last number, 24. And that's how we write it out. I'm going to skip that. The product of 5 and a number. Product means multiply, so I'm going to do 5x, 5 and a number, 5x, is no more than negative 8. So it's not more. It could equal or it could be less, but it's not more. So that's how I would write that out. The sum of, sum means add, of 8 and twice a number. Twice a number again is 2x, or 2 times your letter, is at most 48. The most it can be is 48, so it has to be less or equal to 48. And you could use your cheat sheet, that table that we were on, to help you with that. If we're going to change this into back to words like we were doing before, if we use the words less than for the subtraction, then again we have to flip this because less than switches things around. So I'm going to say 5 less than 3 times a number, and let's just say is greater than 14. And that would work just fine. This next one, I'm going to change this to a plus so that it's different than the last one. And if we have, so I could say more than, I could say the sum for adding. I'm going to go with more than. And here, I could flip it or I could keep it the same order because adding I can do in any order. I'm going to switch them around just because that's what I've been doing. So I'm going to say twice a number more than 6 is less than, or I could say fewer than, is less than 22. So again, same thing. This is multiplying, so I could say the product. This is one way to say it. I do not have to do it this way. The product of 4 and a number and then is no more than negative 48. So is no more than, you can change that up too, depending on what you want to say back on that table that we did. Again, we could say the product of 3 and a number, and then we could pick whatever we wanted for this symbol. So we could say is not less than, or we could say is greater than or equal to, is at least. So any of those phrases and then the number 9 to write that out.